A couple of months ago at a large law firm. Excuse me, I started a couple of months ago at a large law.
There it is,
I didn't
folks.
I was get down
waiting.
To the hard
I was
part.
like, oh my gosh, she made it the first question. There wasn't one.
I didn't even get down to the hard part.
Oh, it's coming. Oh, I'm
Okay.
really excited. I know what the hard part is too.
I started a couple of months ago at a large law firm. All right, thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Isaac gave you a thumbs up.
There's a group of 4 secretaries right outside my office. They've all been at the firm for 20 plus years. They chit-chat all day, play the radio, Lady Gaga. We were already joking about this for the show. I say his name, Ed Sheeran. I'm sorry.
It's not Ed Sheeran.
Okay. Well,
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
This is the Brandon Smith Show, and I'm your host, Brandon Smith, and the entire purpose of the show is one singular thing, and that is to help you live a life that much more free from dysfunction. So our today's show, we are going to be taking on your questions. So ask the workplace therapist, dear workplace therapist questions, and to help me with this journey, we'll see how these questions go today, folks, is my wonderful sidekick, producer, extraordinaire, Whitney Mendoza. Whitney Mendoza, round of applause for you. Yay. Okay, that was a good entrance. That was a good welcome.
I don't know about sidekick.
It came to me. I thought sidekick. This is good. I like sidekick.
Yeah, okay.
No?
I'm a glorified Robin.
Well, sidekicks play an important part.
Okay.
You do.
Hey, can I talk about my Christmas gift?
Yeah, you can talk about that.
Okay. She made a special appearance on the show. Almost has as much drama as I do.
So now you remember, people are listening to the show and not always watching the show.
I wasn't done.
So, okay. She's holding something for everyone listening.
Here's a hint. Ready?
I'm ready.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a... So I'm a big Gone with the Wind fan. And
You are.
Brandon and his lovely wife, Emily, gave me a Scarlett O'Hara ornament for Christmas.
And it's a very kind of velvety,
And
felty.
it is. It's the green dress.
I-
The green dress. It's velvety. It's not a bobblehead, but I felt like it.
You know,
deserved a
I
place
told
on
you
the-
this. I looked
on the
for
shelf.
bobbleheads. You cannot find a Scarlett O'Hara bobblehead anywhere. It would
This
have
was
to
your
be.
compromise?
It would have to be custom made. Well, we saw that and we said, immediately we thought of you.
Thank you.
I thought my sidekick needs this.
This doesn't get you out of the bobblehead.
Oh, it doesn't.
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, Merry
Yeah.
Christmas.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you. I like my gift.
I'm glad you do. I will be thinking of other Scarlet related gifts for you.
Thank you. I take them all. Take all kind of Gone with
All
the
of
Wind
them.
gifts. Yeah. And other gifts.
Another. I think we have a question about gifts today, don't we?
We do.
You hinted at one. I have not seen all the questions, but I know there was one about gifts.
Yep.
Okay.
Not the first one though.
So why don't we go ahead and take our first question?
All right, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I hope this is a softball to get you warmed back up. It's been a little while since we've done these.
It has been a little while.
Okay. Dear workplace therapist. Isn't that when you're supposed to say getting off to a good start?
You're getting off to a really good
Okay,
start.
thank you.
No, I'm waiting though.
Thank you. Okay. I'm a hiring manager for a small, mid-sized company. There's an entry-level position in our firm that I can never seem to fill. I interview a candidate. They seem strong. They come in. They do a great job for a month or two, but then they move on. Or they fizzle. What am I missing? Are there some questions I should be asking that I'm not? Signed, hiring help, please.
Entry level position, right?
Entry level for a small to mid-sized company.
All right. Is full-time or part-time?
Doesn't say, it just says entry level.
Okay, so there's some things we know and there's some things we don't know.
Yes.
So let's talk about what we know. What we know is we've got this revolving door job, entry level, and we're trying to get that filled. What we don't know is if it's part-time or full-time. We don't know how they're currently approaching hiring, who they're going after.
Yeah.
So there's a few ways to look at it. So first, let's talk about hiring strategies that might help with this, so you can kind of alleviate that. And then the other part we can talk about is the job itself. Maybe there's some opportunities in just how you look at this whole role. Maybe there's some creative ways we can approach that. So the first one would be, who are you going after? Are you going after folks maybe young and early in their career that are looking to change roles? We're seeing more and more studies with kind of early working professionals in their 20s, where you're lucky to get them to stay 2 or 3 years. In many cases, it may be 3 to 6 months. And in fact, what actually the Bureau of Labor is concerned right now, because for the first time, they're acknowledging that a lot of workers in that kind of age area are ghosting employers. And they actually are calling it out ghosting. Like, it's a word that they're actually using. They're just saying, I don't want to work there anymore, so I'm just not going to go in, and then I'm not going to respond to texts, and completely ignore them.
Interesting.
Altogether.
Okay.
So there could be a finickiness based on the kind of people that this hiring manager is going after. So that could be part of it. So then if that is the case, if you can find the skill set in workers that are maybe a little more stable in their career and life, that might eliminate the problem. Find someone who's looking for something that's just like this and wants to kind of make it a go, not just tasting all the flavors of work.
So they're kind of looking for a career home.
Yeah.
In a way. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a lot like early on in our careers. It's like if you go to the ice cream store, and you're like, yeah, I want to try that flavor. 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 That's essentially what they're doing.
Okay.
They're just getting a little spoon, trying it, and they're like, I don't like that. And they're going on to the next job. Find someone who's already tried the flavors, and they're like, I like that flavor. I want to stay. So that could be part of it. The other part of it is it part-time versus full-time? Because that could be the issue too. If it's a part-time job, it might just be someone's looking for full-time and they're taking it. And we're also in a labor market right now where unemployment has been some of the lowest in over a decade. So you've got that factor as well. It's hard to find people that are good. So I would say there's a couple, approaches you could take to kind of look at. And the last thing I would say is maybe acknowledge that the job is just a revolving door job. Maybe that's okay. Maybe just say this job's going to be a revolving door. We're going to assign people to kind of 3 to 6 months. We're going to view it as, we'd view it as a 3 to 6 month thing. What I am finding some employers do is they do a tour of duty contract, particularly if the workers are younger. So they're saying, hey, I get the fact you're not going to stay here forever. Let's don't even assume that. Why don't we do a tour of duty? Let's commit to me for 6 months. Let's do it 6 months. And then if you like it, we'll sign up for another tour. If you don't like it, then we'll find, a pleasant way for us to part ways.
Interesting.
So you're kind of going with that resistance rather than fighting it.
How do you handle training in that way, though? Because that seems to be the biggest thing, is that you obviously invest time training this employee just to leave in another 3 to 6 months, and you get to do it all over again.
Yeah, if it's a job that does require training, then that would be think about that as a tour of duty. And to say that opening with them and say, I really want you to stay. And in order to make that happen, we need you here at least a year for it to be worth it for the training. And then if that's the case, what the hiring manager might want to do is put in place incentive kickers along the way. You get a $500 bonus every 3 months.
Okay.
Put whatever the money is. And what I'll often see in other organizations is when people are planning on leaving, but they get an annual bonus, they stay until they get their bonus, and then they leave on January 1st. So you can control the flow a little bit better. So that's a strategy where there's going to be churn. How can you as an employer control it? Would be to either create more conversations and structure, but also bonus kind of triggers, because that'll keep people.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like that. That's a good one. I like that one.
Good. You feeling good?
I'm feeling really good.
This next one's good.
Okay.
It's coming from Aggravated Associate. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Dear workplace therapist, A couple of months ago at a large law firm, excuse me, I started a couple of months ago at a large law.
There it is,
I didn't,
folks.
I didn't
I
even
was
get down
waiting.
to the hard
I was
part.
like, oh my gosh, she made it the first question. There wasn't one.
I didn't even get down to the hard
Oh,
part.
it's coming. Oh, I'm really
Okay.
excited. I know what the hard part is too.
I started a couple of months ago at a large law firm. All right, thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Isaac gave you a thumbs up.
There's a group of 4 secretaries right outside my office. They've all been at the firm for 20 plus years. They chit chat all day, play the radio, Lady Gaga. We were already joking about this for the show. I say his name, Ed Sheeran. I'm sorry.
It's not Ed Sheeran.
Okay. Well,
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran, Beyonce, etc. From 9 when they arrive to 6 p.m. when they leave. It's loud, and I'm just not one of those people who can work with noise. I could close my door or put on headphones, but I don't want to do that because I feel it would come across as antisocial. And I just want my door open at all times. I closed it last summer while interning, and a partner made a comment about it. So that's out. Can't close the door. This is a large firm, and they're paying me a lot of money to be both productive and collaborative. I could ask the secretaries to politely turn the music off, but they've been at the firm way longer than me. Also, no one else around seems to have a problem with it, or if they do, they're just not saying anything. My colleague next door occasionally closes his door or puts his headphones on, but again, I don't want to do that. Everyone else on the floor... No, messed up again. This is a long one. Ed Sheeran, Beyonce.
Keep going. You got it. Come on. Almost there. Almost there. Just a little
I know,
more.
it's the last 2 sentences. Everywhere else on the floor is so silent you can hear a pin drop. But over here, it's like a nail salon. That's funny. I was going to insert a joke there, but I digress. Any advice you can offer about navigating the nail salon is appreciated. Aggressive. No, not aggressive associate. Yeah, aggravated associate, not aggressive.
That not too bad. Only like 4 or 5 errors in that.
Yeah, it was. Well, and then, do you know Angela Johnson at the nail salon? Why I have a boyfriend?
Oh, my goodness.
Then that came into my mind and I totally got sidetracked. Aggravated, aggressive associate, Ed Sheeran. We've had a lot happen
There's a lot going on in
in
that.
this particular
Well, I would say,
show
so
here.
a couple things in that. First, I think he really does want to close his door and put on headphones. He doesn't feel like he can get away with it politically. So here's what I would recommend. The starting place so I don't think he should go tell the secretaries to turn off their music. They've been doing that a long time. It's working for them. And it seems like it's acceptable in the firm, and he could burn bridges. So this is a great case of trying to navigate politics. You're an up and coming kind of rising star. You don't want to mess up or kind of step on the wrong toes and end up with a bad reputation that you've got to recover from. So he's trying to figure out, like, what do I do? But the current situation is not really allowing him to work well. He can't concentrate. He can't get his job done. He's getting frustrated. And that's going to boil over. So the first step I would recommend here is a very clear one. He should go to whoever the partner is that he's kind of working for or working with, his boss, and go to lunch and say, hey, partner, this is my challenge. I got this problem. I don't want to tell him to turn off the music, but it's hard for me to concentrate. And I don't want the other partners to think that I'm unapproachable or antisocial. What do you recommend I do? Because you want that other partner, A, to give him advice, and B, to also run cover with the other partners. So I would start with that, with maybe whoever the person he reports to. He could also do the same thing with the partner that said something to him over the summer when he was interning, is to say, hey, I've got this challenge. I really need to concentrate. I don't want to close my door because I know that you experience that as antisocial. That's not what I'm trying to do, but I can't concentrate with the noise.
Yeah.
What have you done in situations like this? So he needs to get advice from the political players so they can give him kind of approval. I actually think where I would love to see this go is maybe where, he has, maybe he can close his door and put a funny sign on the door, or something or maybe just a sign that says, if you need me, please knock. I'm happy to have any conversations. I'm just kind of working. I'm using this time to concentrate, or some way to clarify. So I don't know exactly what that sign would be. I think you'd have to think about what would be culturally appropriate, but you're trying to avoid the whole, in absence of communication, people assume the worst. See, that's the other part of this too. If he closes the door and doesn't tell people why he's doing it, in absence of communication, people assume the worst. So they're like, oh, he doesn't like me.
Yeah.
He's antisocial. He's a jerk. So starting with the kind of the political players and having some conversation with them first about how they should approach it. What are you smiling and smirking for?
Well, I was thinking, they mentioned Lady Gaga, so maybe the sign could say like, I love Lady Gaga, but right now I have to put my poker face on.
That was horrible. That's not even funny.
He's got work to do.
And yet there's people laughing over here in the production group is laughing.
That's what I would do.
Creative director's laughing. Isaac's laughing.
Yeah. Well.
Okay, so we have another one. And Isaac, what's our timing? 3 minutes, Isaac says.
Yeah. He told us 5 minutes ago about 2 minutes ago, so.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a clock right now. Our clock's not on. So I'm asking Isaac. So why don't you start with the next question, and then we'll take a break, and then we can answer it. Assuming you can read it in 3 minutes.
I don't know, because I
without
really
any issues.
Butchered that last one. Can we get some Ed Sheeran in the break, please?
Of course, we can listen to Ed Sheeran in the break.
Dear workplace therapist, one of my managers is hosting a celebration lunch for various key technology and business people on a project completion.
You're doing great, by the way.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
One sentence in. The goal is to thank everyone for the efforts on this significant work over the last few years. He got a call from an invite asking if there would be drinks served at the 11:30 lunch. Is this real? Alcohol at a lunch gathering? Is that coming back as acceptable? I thought that sunset with the Mad Men cast. I liked what they did there. Does celebration and the invite equal drinks? What's the therapist say on this one? Your insight is appreciated. Now here's where it's all going to go downhill. Signed, wondering about luncheon liberations.
Libations.
I knew it.
You do become more liberated with enough libations. You did really well until the end.
Libations.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
I
I've got some thoughts.
made-up word.
I've got some thoughts on how we can handle this. This is actually not going to be that complicated. But we will take this on right after the break. See, now I just flubbed. Right after the break. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Here's your coaching minute for the week, presented to you by the Leadership Foundry. So credibility, as we know, is super, super important. Let's say now you've gotten into a new job. You've got either got a new boss or a new team, and you're trying to build credibility really, really quickly right out of the gate. One of the easiest ways to do that is focus on proactive communication. We all do the reactive communication stuff. People text us, IM us, email us, and we respond. Focus on proactive communication, particularly status updates. It's so simple and easy, but it's a great way to provide quick clarity into what you're working on and build credibility. And I find it to be the best way to enhance trust quickly with a new boss. So put on your calendar either every Friday or every Monday, typically the end or beginning of a week, to send to your boss what are maybe those 3 to 5 things you got accomplished during the week, and what are the 3 to 5 things that you're going to work on the next week. And you'll find after about 3 or 4 or 5 weeks of doing that with your new boss, that they'll say, hey, those were really great. You don't need to send those anymore. I really appreciate what you've been up to. So give it a try. It's a quick way to build credibility and enhance trust right out of the gate. Welcome back from the break. This is the Brandon Smith Show, and today we are taking on your questions that you've been challenging us with, and Whitney has been guiding us through this discussion.
Has that been what I'm doing?
You're
guiding?
Maybe not guiding. stumbling us through
Yeah,
the woods
that's
of your questions.
more accurate.
So you just ask a question right before the break, and we talked about a celebration luncheon, middle of the day, to kind of celebrate project completions.
Lunch and libations.
And there was a question from one of
Yes.
the attendees. So this is important because the person who wrote wasn't the person asking the questions and wasn't the person hosting the luncheon. Someone else asked, "Hey, are there going to be drinks served?"
Mm-hmm.
And this person who wrote seemed to be offended by the idea. Odds are there's not going to be drinks served. If there ever is typically kind of drinks, when I've seen it in business settings like that, it will be like a Friday afternoon.
Right.
It's rarely, I have not seen drinks served at lunch in any of the workplaces that I've encountered in probably the last 5 years. And in fact, if you go all the way back to kind of the recession, 2008, 2009, a lot of social activities like golfing, gone completely. A lot of that stuff that would involve some playtime in the middle of the day doesn't happen. So I'd be really surprised if there were drinks served. Typically, when I do see drinks served in environments, it might be like bowling or Topgolf or something like that at the end of an afternoon. So I would pretty much make this a non-event. So to answer this person's question, first, no, drinks are typically not served. So assume that they're not going to be, because I would be surprised if it's during the day. But if in the case they are, that doesn't mean you have to drink. You can just pass. Most people will. I think odds are most people are not going to drink unless the person hosting it has enough seniority where they've kind of basically said, we're taking the rest of the day off.
Yeah.
And then make sure everyone has a ride home and all that kind of thing. But I would be surprised if that was part of the agenda. And I don't see it. I think the question really was, what am I seeing? I'm not seeing that. That's for sure. No lunch and libations.
All right. What he said.
No lunch and libations.
Lunch and
Whitney.
libations. Are you ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
Okay. Dear workplace therapist, I'm already feeling good. I'm going to get through this one. I hate to sound unkind, but I don't feel very generous in the gift-giving department at work. Must I reciprocate a holiday gift when someone surprises me with something? It seems like between birthdays and holidays, there's always something to celebrate and or buy for someone else. Do you get something for everyone on your team? What should the rules be? Your guidance is appreciated. Signed, Misguided Gift Giver. I'm a little bit worried as someone who has a birthday in December along with Christmas. No combining. No combining.
That doesn't work for you?
No.
Well, mine was in January. Mine is in January, my birthday. So I would often have a couple presents held off to the side.
And
Get them.
Christmas wrapper paper?
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Oh.
Yeah. It's okay. It's not
It's
the end of the
all right.
world. Well, that's all right. Will you buy me a gift to make it better?
Maybe.
It'll tie right into this. Could be workplace gift.
I apparently need a magnifying glass.
Well, you did that one masterfully. No
Thank you.
issues. No issues at
Thanks.
all.
It was like 3 sentences.
So gift giving.
Yes.
What an interesting kind of idea around, I don't want to do it. And you don't have to, really. What you do have
Yeah.
to do is show gratitude and appreciation. I will say there's 2 kind of ways to look at this. Actually, 3 ways to look at this. Think of it as a 360 circle, because that would be 360. So below you, your direct reports, across from you, your peers and coworkers, and then above you, your boss. Okay. If you are the manager and you've got a team, it is a nice gesture to give everyone on your team a gift once a year. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be all the time, but that's a nice gesture. So something
Yeah.
around the holidays. And I've got a team that I'm working with right now, and they're in New York, and the particular general manager of the team, she said, it's been great this year. I got to know everybody on my team well enough that I know exactly what kind of wine they like. So I bought each of them a bottle of wine to thank them for all their hard work this year. And the wine was unique to that person. So I know you like Chardonnay, so you got a bottle of Chardonnay. You like Merlot, you got a bottle of Merlot. And so it was very
Nice.
personal,
Mhm.
and it was a gift, and it was kind of thanking them for all their hard work. And it timed the end of the year. They're a retailer, so it made sense because heavy end of the season. So if you're a boss, I would recommend you do think about giving gifts. Doesn't mean it has to be expensive. the thought is what counts. So the more you can personalize it, the more it's going to make an impact. If it's with peers, no, you don't need to do that. There's nothing you need. And if they give you a gift, it's perfectly fine to say thank you very much and show genuine appreciation, but you don't need to reciprocate. And then to your boss, that can be a little weird too, unless there's something, again, that that they would really like. So I think what we're getting in here is a couple principles. You want to hold on to the principle of appreciation and gratitude, and you want to make it as personal as possible. But it doesn't have to do with money. So if it comes holiday time, you don't need to give everyone the gift. Now, there's one exception to all this. If you work in a company culture where everyone gives everyone gifts, then you're going to either need to comply with that culture or find another job. So maybe you work in a nonprofit or you work in some place where just everyone does this. Yeah. You need to basically decide, do I want to conform to the culture, or is this just not the place for me?
Is that typically in smaller groups?
You're going to find it typically in smaller groups.
Yeah.
And like I said, it could be more like a nonprofit or maybe a family business.
Sure.
Where there's a little more of a closeness there.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see that in kind of government entities. You're not going to see it in big companies, which are government entities. It's going to have a little more rules and people not wanting to offend anybody. And so you're not going to see that. But it's in the smaller environments, yeah. So if you're in one of those small environments where everyone's giving everyone gifts, you're going to be an outcast and seen as the real grouch if you don't.
Yeah. So I would agree.
Yeah, like you.
No double dipping on gifts.
A little grouchy or hangry.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. We have another one.
Yes.
Is this our last one?
I believe so.
Okay.
Dear workplace therapist.
You're doing great, Whitney.
I serve as a liaison between an organization and the group.
You got liaison.
I did. Now, where was I? Okay. I serve as a liaison between an organization and the group that it serves. I'm often surprised how often the people I work with hear of some news about the organization that upsets or shocks them. Instead of going to the organization for clarification, members of the group will become upset about the misinformation they have heard, usually second or third hand. The response to the incorrect information often spirals out of control as they rally others in the group to respond to a situation that doesn't even exist.
Yep.
How can an organization proactively prevent or decrease this type of situation? Signed, Stuck in the Middle with News. I've been waiting all show for that. That is not Ed Sheeran.
I've not been waiting all show for that.
Yep,
I've not been.
It's because you heard me practicing.
Can you go back to the very beginning? What's this person's role again?
So they are a liaison between an organization and a group that organization serves.
Okay. All right. You're going to find this kind of situation more common in nonprofits, churches, and universities. Because people have a much more of a personal attachment to the organization or the mission. And so then they're more likely to form cliques, groups, to try and either advocate for their particular position or resist any change.
Sure.
So that reminds me of something. I worked with a university several years ago, and they had a whole alumni group, and they were trying to change the name of the university. And it was a subtle change, but it was going from college to university was the change.
Okay.
And the alumni group was furious. You thought that they were talking about something so personal that this was just not going to be possible for this group to continue living. And they got all riled up about it.
Yeah.
And so I think when you're in a situation like this and you're the liaison, you have to anticipate people are not going to act rationally. This is going to be personal. It's going to feel personal. It feels personal when it's a nonprofit. It feels personal with the church. It feels personal when it's a university.
Right.
And it's yours. Okay. So then I think when you want to go into it kind of proactively saying, all right, here's what I know, here's what I don't know. And rather than in absence of communication, assume the worst and get kind of wound up,
Yeah.
if you start to feel that, call me. Let's talk about it. And I'll be honest and transparent, and let's kind of work through it, because the last thing I want is for you to spend a lot of time and energy going down a path which is only going to get people upset when it's not even true. So the more proactive they can be in trying to anticipate that is probably the best strategy. And then regular communication. You've got to constantly be talking to those groups.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'd also say is those groups respond really, really well when your environments are nonprofits, churches, universities, personal contact. They want the face-to-face. Messages over email is only going to get them upset, and they'll nitpick the words in the email. So it's got to be personal. But when you do reach out and you personally listen to them, they'll kind of calm down. So it requires a lot of effort, frankly, managing those relationships in those environments.
So you said you do have to do that one-on-one, or could you have like almost like a town hall type?
You can do one-on-one. I've done town halls before in those environments, and it's potentially combustible.
Okay.
Because then you get one person who gets upset, and rather than you being able to attend to what she's saying or he's saying, then someone else goes, yeah. And all of a sudden there's like 10 people and they're going, yeah.
And you got an angry mom.
And then now you've got to now calm down 10 people rather than one-on-one.
Okay.
So I would prefer hand-to-hand combat on that, because I think it's going to be a little bit easier to manage it, but it takes more time.
Sure.
And we always have this trade-off right now between being efficient and effective. Being efficient and effective. And as leaders and as managers and as people, we're always trying to do both. But with time being everyone's most precious resource and everything being urgent all the time, we trade off effectiveness for efficiency. So we send the email when we should pick up the phone and call each person, or call the people we know who are going to be the instigators. Sure. That's the other thing in this situation. You know who those people are. You know who the people are going to instigate it. It's always the same people. It's the same people that get everyone riled up.
Yeah.
So go to them first and pre-wire them. Tell them what's going on. Tell them kind of that you need them on your side, and diffuse them, because that is the best approach. But it does take more time.
They probably all like Ed Sheeran or something.
They might. They might all listening to Ed Sheeran and they're just getting wound up. Although his music's kind of soothing. Although you were thinking about it today and you were getting wound up. You were not a big fan.
Nope. Not a fan of this room.
Well, Whitney, thank you. We're out of time.
Thank you.
I appreciate
for allowing me to come back.
I appreciate your help.
Time and time again.
You were doing pretty good.
Thanks.
You only had a few stumbles.
Okay. Yeah.
Libations.
And they were all in that second one.
You got you missed libations, but you got liaison. That's pretty good. And thank you for listening and watching. And of course, keep up the fight every single week as we try and eliminate dysfunction and make your lives that much better. And send us your questions. We love to take those on. Whitney in particular loves to restate them for you. And catch a Nick show every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. as we drop a new show and we take on your questions. We interview guests. And we just try and make our workplaces a little bit easier. Watch us on iTunes. Listen to us on iTunes at thebrandonsmithshow.com. And of course on Facebook, facebook.com/Brandon Smith WPT for Workplace Therapist. And if you enjoyed today's show, which we hope you have, please rate, review, and what's that last word? Subscribe on iTunes. I'm reading, folks. I always butcher the end. I
planned that just to make myself feel better this time.
It's really small print today. Subscribe.
Yeah, I did
on
that.
iTunes. I did get that right there. But seriously, go to iTunes. Let us know what you think, because that's how we get better. And that's also how people find the show. Because after all, we're in this together. So until next week and the next show, have a great week and an awesome life.